Welcome, folks. Today we're going to be reviewing the new Wooting 60HE, the long-awaited small compact version of the popular 2HE that I reviewed some months back. Now, with reviewing it, I absolutely loved it, so I'm thrilled to be able to get my hands on this new iteration. Let's dive in. I don't normally talk about the unboxing experience of a product, but the Wooting 60HE is fantastic. The outside is printed in the names of those who backed the project. Once open though, you're going to see the keyboard resting in a nice large dust protector shell. You also get a wrist strap looking thing, which is definitely new in the keyboard scene, but it just adds some aesthetic to your setup. It's not needed, of course. There's also the keycap puller, a non-coiled braided cable, additional switches, and some screws. Coming in at a premium price of $174.99, the 60HE is not the same run-of-the-mill 60% keyboard though. Aside from the usual sides of the same class, we have PBT keycaps that come standard, beautifully made with clear shine through, and the surface is fantastic for typing or gaming. Only downside is that there are no side legends for navigating the secondary functions, and while that's super clean looking, it's really just not functional, especially on a 60% keyboard. It kind of leaves you wondering and second guessing what you're about to press if you need to get to that second layer. We also have Leica magnetic switches, which we'll get into in just a little bit. It's got some nice weight to it as well, clocking in at 613 grams, which frankly took me by surprise given that the top and bottom frame are of a plastic construction. Underneath, we've got 4 grippy feet, but sadly nothing to flip out and adjust your typing angle. The mounting type is actually a tray mount, and it's a universal standard placement of post 2. So you are more than welcome to take the innards out and place them right inside your favorite 60% case, say something like your bamboo cases out there, a tofu 60 case, or one of the many resin cases that you can order. It's really a great feature that Wooting has taken into consideration to allow customizing that could potentially make your 60HE unique in its own way. Now, I don't have a 60% case laying around, sadly, but if you have one in mind that you know that you're going to use for your 60HE, definitely drop a comment below because I'm definitely curious to see what people can come up with. If you decide to move your 60HE to another home like a hermit crab finding a new shell, you might notice it's got some added layer to your build compared to the 2HE. You now have 4mm of pour-on foam sandwiched between the plate and that PCB, adding even better sound acoustics so that way you're able to hear those angry 12-year-olds talking about your mom. Also changed up, gone is the aluminum plate and in place is a steel one. Now frankly, I'm not a big fan of a steel plate given its sound profile and feel, but they do add a lot of weight, so maybe that was a factor in this decision. As mentioned, the Leica switch makes a return. In partnership with Gateron, it is definitely a Wooting staple. And unlike your traditional mechanical switches, this is a full analog switch. Using the Hall's effect of magnets, you can adjust these switches' actuation from 0.01 millimeters to 4.0 millimeters with the smallest of increments of even 0.01. It's a super tight precision range of motion. The only thing that's rubbing against one another besides my thighs are going to be the pre-lubricated stems. These switches are butter smooth. They almost feel like you're typing on professionally filmed and lubed boutique switches. Now, to get a better idea on how beneficial a Leica switch can be, think of all that rage you have built up when you're playing a cross-platform multiplayer game and you have those that are using a controller. They have that precision movement with an analog stick that is no different here with the Leica switches. It's not going to be that on-off input that we're used to with your normal mechanical switch. It allows for that progressive control depending on how far you press down on the switch. Think of your favorite character walking or in a running motion, depending on how much pressure you apply. Or a driving game, you might take turns with more precision instead of the front tires just turning abruptly like the paddles of a pinball table. To get more information, I'll leave a link to Wooting's website, and also there is a video that I'll link at the top here of my review of the 2HE that also expresses my experience with these switches. Now, I'm a big fan of keyboards, and I love the history that they have with traditional mechanical switches being around for so long, almost going unchanged to some point. That is until we really see the likes of optical switches from SteelSeries or Razer. And now we have these Gateron Wooting Lycra switches. And I think this is really the future of gaming keyboards. And if you're just dead set on your favorite mechanical switch, I'm not here to tell you to toss those, but I definitely recommend you at least try these Lycra switches because they're absolutely smooth and just super adjustable. The routing software has been improved as well with preset profiles to give you a better understanding on the switch's purposes. You can, of course, still add it and alter to your heart's content, adjusting the actuation point, initiate rapid trigger, a feature that dynamically reads your key presses and releases it in such a way that it doesn't have that static base actuation point. Also, the tachyon mode, which reduces the RGB input down to 0 and it ramps up that input speed. And you can also remap your keys as simple as a click, drag, and drop, which is awesome to use. And then lastly, you also have home to create your own key bindings on the keyboard. So no worries with messing around between game settings as it'll all be stored within the keyboard. In the end, the 60HE is a great new offering from Wooting. It sounds better, it offers more customization, and soon with the new chipset, even better performance. And this is launching at the same time as SteelSeries' new Apex Pro Mini, so it will definitely draw a lot of comparisons against the 60HE. I don't want to comment too much on that board as I don't have a unit to test and review, but the Wooting does offer a wider actuation adjustment. You do have that customization tray mount design, and well, frankly, you don't have to deal with SteelSeries engine nonsense. So if you want an endgame gaming keyboard where performance is of the utmost importance to you, honestly, look no further than the 60HE. But that does it for me. I am Jaypher. I appreciate Wooting sending this out for review. If you have any questions on the keyboard, please leave a comment below. If you did like the video, please throw a like and hit that subscription button. That always means a ton. Until next time, stay safe. Lastly, folks, Wooting did provide me with their new carrying case for the 60HE, and especially with COVID restriction being lifted, if you plan on going to any local LAN events or your buddy's place, this might be something that you might want to consider. I'm not trying to sell you on it, but one thing I did notice is that, well, it looks to be a little larger than the keyboard itself, and that kind of leads me to believe that maybe Wooting's working on a 65HE.